But of course, Soerens knows as well many other congregations that live much closer to the why of God. The remainder of Soerens' fine work is a reflection on the life of the right-sized parish that takes the form of a team that is deeply committed not only to the mission, but whose members are deeply committed to each other for a common life of trust, joy, and honesty. His sketch of such a new parish is reminiscent of the early church in the book of Acts, in which the members had all things in common. Soerens does not focus on shared economics, but a fully shared life will, perforce, have economic implications. He articulates a suggestive taxonomy of a team of engaged people who live at the center of a parish. Though all the members of the parish are not fully on board with the team, they may and will be drawn toward the vision of such an intentional group. That performed vision, powered by the Spirit, will, he suggests, not only reach the larger church, but the civic community as well. Everyone knows it is a hard time for the church in our culture, a hard time reflected for Soerens in secular Seattle as his home base. Much of that hard time, of course, results from the church having forgotten its character and purpose. In the face of that hard time, Soerens has written a book that teems with hope and possibility for the future, a hope that the church need not reiterate our mistaken past, and a possibility that real people in real time and real circumstances can live out the why of God. The prospect Soerens explores is of a community of glad neighborliness in which faithful folk genuinely delight in one another and happily share a vision of the world that is engaged by the Spirit. Soerens finishes with a judgment that the most elemental need for the church is passionate prayer, whereby we put ourselves in the rightful posture that we cannot control the outcomes we seek. I finished reading the book with exhilaration for what lies ahead for the church. Now is no time for regret or anxiety. Now is the time for recovery of the newness of what is old and best in our tradition. Soerens brings his great lived wisdom to his exposition, a practical wisdom whereby we may be instructed. In the new parish, there will be no business as usual, but a glad return to the grit and energy of the apostles. Chapter 1. The Movement or the Meltdown. Claudette Colvin doesn't have any museums or holidays named after her, but she should. You've undoubtedly heard of Rosa Parks, the young woman who was ruthlessly dragged off a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, for refusing to give her seat to a white person. What many people don't know is that 9 months earlier, the same thing happened to Claudette. On March 15, 1955, on her way home from high school, 15-year-old Claudette took a seat on a bus in Montgomery. When the bus driver told her to give her seat to a white person, she refused. Within minutes, her books were flying in the air. 2 police officers put her in handcuffs and started to drag her off the bus. Without fighting back or cussing, she kept telling everyone who would listen that sitting on a bus was her constitutional right. But that didn't keep her from ending up in the adult jail at the police station. While in lockup, she prayed the Lord's Prayer and Psalm 23 over and over, all the while hoping her family and neighbors would somehow discover she was there. She hadn't been given the opportunity to call anyone. Thankfully, her schoolmates who were also on the bus spread the word around the neighborhood. Mary Ann Colvin, Claudette's mom, was a maid who took care of 3 other children in their neighborhood. Once word spread of what had happened to Claudette, a few nearby girls scurried over to watch the kids, while Mary Ann frantically thought about how to get to the police station. She hastily called Claudette's pastor, the Reverend H. Johnson, who had a car, and together they raced to the police station. Reverend Johnson was able to bail out Claudette and told her, "Claudette, I'm so proud of you. Everyone prays for freedom. We've all been praying and praying. But you're different. You want your answer the next morning, and I think you just brought the revolution to Montgomery." Most people don't know Claudette's name, but that doesn't change the fact